Hello everyone, I wish I came to you in better circumstances, so let's get on with this already. Right, this is what Ben Fritz has been saying this afternoon about the Snyder Cut. Remember the article he was going to do? There's a lot to talk about here, and I haven't got a lot of time to do it. Bottom line, Warner Brothers has no plans to release any new version of the Justice League movie, including a Snyder Cut. A senior executive confirmed to me, which will disappoint some very passionate people, including this guy. Right, let's just click onto the article, right, very quickly. Holy Director's Cut Batman devoted fans demand a new version of a superhero flop. Now, we thought that Ben Fritz was going to do a great think piece. Maybe he'd have some quotes from some important people, including Warner Brothers, including Zack Snyder. This guy has got nothing, but he did interview Zack Snyder fans. In the annals of director's cuts that restored a movie to its creator's original vision stand such greats as Ridley Scott, Blade Runner, and Sergio Leone's Once Upon a Time in America. Now some fans are pushing for Zack Snyder's Justice League to join those ranks, even though no such version may exist yet. Again, you know, we thought that Ben was going to come out with some stuff we didn't know, but it's the usual denial. It's very sad because those fans being interviewed thought they were actually part of something really special, a special announcement. Maybe Warner Brothers had implemented this to make the big announcement. This is so out of order. Devotees have grown especially hopeful about the prospect of a Snyder Cut. News with Thursday's start of Comic-Con in San Diego, where studios frequently make big announcements to gathered pop culture fanatics. Never mind that. Justice League fizzled at the box office. Tell us something we don't know, Ben. Why are you wasting our time? And helped drive Time Warner Bros. To replace the executive team that oversees its DC Comics superheroes on the big screen. Scored 27% on Rotten Tomatoes, it was called God Awful by New York Magazine. An ardent group of fans believe Batman v Superman was powerful, relatable, visually stunning, smart, witty and fun, as one wrote, and demonstrated a level of care and unparalleled in modern cinema. As another said in an online video, they see it as a worthy successor to Mr. Snyder's 2013 Superman film, Man of Steel. Another violent, violent, superhero movie that polarised the fans and critics. They believed Justice League, in which Batman and Wonder Woman assemble a team of superheroes, would complete his visionary trilogy. Instead, these believers in truth, justice and the Snyder way got what they derisively refer to as the Justice League. That's true. After Mr. Snyder stepped aside in early 2017, following a family tragedy, Joss Whedon, the director of Marvel's Avengers, took over. Mr. Whedon had already been brought on to rewrite parts of the movie and oversaw several weeks of reshoots and a new edit the studio had requested. The final film was notably shorter and less violent than Mr. Snyder's previous solo work and featured snappy dialogue familiar to fans of the Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV series, which Mr. Whedon created. Justice League, with a Rotten Tomatoes score of 40%, grossed $658 million worldwide, a weak total for a movie that cost about $300 million to make. It's also less than the grosses of Batman v Superman, Man of Steel, and last year's widely lauded Warner DC hit Wonder Woman, directed by Patty Jenkins. Mr. Whedon declined to comment through a spokeswoman. One Snyder disciple recently tweeted an altered version of a painting of Jesus giving his Sermon on the Mount, replacing the Son of God with director holding a Justice League Snyder Cut DVD. You see, what Ben's doing here, he's stitching us up. Every fan he spoke to, he is making fun of us. This is so bad. And this is what he must never trust these people again. Mr. Snyder himself has teased fans in recent months by posting behind-the-scenes photos from Justice League Online, driving feverish attempts to interpret what signal he might be sending. A spokeswoman said Mr. Snyder wouldn't discuss a director's cut. Mr. Snyder never watched a version of Justice League released in theatres, she said. Diego Morora, a retail sales worker in Rio de Janeiro, is one of the fans who have rallied behind the motto, release the Snyder Cut. Since last year, they have organised campaigns on social media, produced online videos, and bombarded Warner Bros. Executives with emails asking the studio to complete and distribute on Blu-ray version of Justice League that matches Mr. Snyder's vision before Mr. Whedon got involved. Mr. Morara, who bought tickets for 5 different Justice League theatre screenings before the film was even released, described watching them as the 5 stages of grief. A petition on Change.org calling on Warner Bros. To make a complete a Snyder Cut has more than 178,000 signatures. We want future films of the franchise to keep the same artistic integrity of previous works, said Fiona Zeng. Fiona's basically the one who's really leading the Snyder Cut petition, really. Where are we? Here we are. A medical clinic manager in Harbin, China, who runs the website for snydercut.com. In an email not like the theatrical Justice League, which was downgraded to a mediocre action comedy representing I can't even read that word, of everything we cherished. Typically, director's cuts come when filmmakers' original intention was distorted by studio interference. In his reworked version of Blade Runner, Mr. Scott eliminated a voiceover imposed by producers of the 1982 theatrical release. Devotees have pored over every bit of information released about Justice League to find hint of the movie. Mr. Snyder envisioned before the reshoots, using early trailers, photos from production, and unused visual effects, shots leaked online. They have picked out changes, including a discarded origin for the character Cyborg, in a scene in which Mr. Whedon apparently cut Gotham City Police Commissioner Gordon saying, again, at the end of one line. Some fans believe a Snyder Cut exists somewhere in the Warner Brothers vaults. That includes Chris Wong Swenson. Now, Chris Wong is a great lad. He's got a YouTube channel called Ping Pong Flicks. It's brilliant. Who has produced dozens of videos on the topic for his YouTube channel, with titles like Silence and Disinformation, Justice League Cut. In some, he self-mockingly wears a tinfoil hat. I know it's not totally done, but I believe 100% there is a Snyder Cut of the film, Mr. Wong Swenson said in an interview. People who worked on the Justice League say that while Mr. Snyder did assemble a rough cut after he finished principal photography in late 2016, the director never said he intended it to be released. They add that Mr. Snyder oversaw the new scenes Mr. Whedon wrote following winter and had planned to shoot them himself before the death of his daughter. Now, do we believe that? Now, this is a key line. So this is. I want to read this again because it's very important. The director never said he intended it to be released. They add that Mr. Snyder oversaw the new scenes Mr. Whedon wrote the following winter and had planned to shoot them himself before the death of his daughter prompted him to leave. Now, depends if you believe that or not. Who are these people who won't stop talking about the magical Snyder Cut that doesn't exist? Lamented one person close to the film. Now, this is getting interesting now. As Comic-Con approaches, some Snyder Cut supporters say they are more energized than ever. We are personally prepared for a long drawn-out campaign, said Ms. Zen. Mr. Wong Swenson enthusiasm is beginning to flag, however. I think people will start losing hope if nothing is said by Comic-Con, he said. Interesting. Now, was Chris misquoted here? I can't wait to see his next video. He may end up with grim news for his YouTube subscribers. Warner Bros. Has a huge presentation planned for Comic-Con Saturday to promote upcoming superhero movies Aquaman, Shazam. The studio isn't planning to mention a Snyder Cut or to release any alternate versions of Justice League, a senior executive confirmed. And that, my friends, is literally what you got. We literally got nothing we didn't already know. So I need to say something, right? He's quoting people close to the film, saying that Zack Snyder never meant for his cut to be released or to be seen by the public. Someone who close to who was involved with making the film, saying that who are these people demanding this Snyder Cut? But not once in that article did Ben Fritz mention Jay Oliver. Why isn't Jay Oliver mentioned? He's been on Twitter every single day as part of this campaign talking about there is a cut. He's hopeful about it. So what's going on? Why didn't they mention him? Let me explain to you what's really going on here. And it's very cowardly by Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers are a studio I respect and I love. And I'm quite happy to move on from the Snyder Cut. I am. I want to look forward to the future. Mistakes have been made, but now Walter Hamada is in charge. He's moving forward. He's doing DC Light, DC Dark. Let's give it a chance. And maybe in a few years we can see the Snyder Cut. And then we can all rest. But at the end of the day, this seems like this piece was done as spin by Warner Brothers. Why not just come out, Warner Brothers? Why not just come out and say, do you know what, guys? We're not releasing it. That's the end of it. Please move forward with us in this new era of DC films. But what they've done here is really cowardly. Ben Fritz has interviewed a lot of fans, and he didn't really tell them what he told them. It was about the Snyder Cut, but he would tell them nothing more than that. So they were glad to do the interviews because they thought it could make a difference. Ultimately, Ben Fritz and Warner Brothers have stitched these people up. And I'm very sad, very sad. I love DC. I'm still going to watch the movies. I'm still going to talk about the movies. But what's been done here is absolutely outrageous. Keep it DC.